Don't come tomorrow, it'll just make things awkward, my sister texted. Mom thinks it's better. I still showed up. Mom slammed the door while everyone watched. They thought I'd leave. My name is Vanessa Carter, and I'm 34 years old. I work as a compliance analyst for a mid-sized logistics company, which means I check rules, numbers, and risks every day. Growing up, my family said I was too serious and always looking for problems. My younger sister Leela was outgoing, charming, and always praised. She dressed well, laughed loudly, and everyone called her the one who made life fun. I lived in a small apartment, saved every dollar, and avoided attention. They saw me as the failure because I refused to join our family retail business. I struggled with anxiety and felt invisible at most gatherings. I listened more than I spoke, and I noticed patterns in people's words. I wasn't rich or glamorous, but I had something they didn't expect. I paid attention when others ignored details, and I remembered every lie they thought no one heard. I learned early that silence can be power. That lesson shaped my career and my choices. What they called weakness was patience. I was ready. If you've ever felt like the outsider during holidays, subscribe to this channel. You are not alone here. Have you ever been uninvited from something that should have included you? Click hype and share your story before we continue. Your voice matters, and I'm listening. Tell me where you're watching. I received the group text 2 days before Thanksgiving. My sister wrote, "Don't come. You always make things tense." My mother added, "We need peace this year." I stared at the screen while my chest felt tight. I had not accused anyone of anything, yet rumors were spreading. Later, I learned Leela told relatives that I had reported the family business for shady practices. I had never said that. At the grocery store, my cousin laughed loudly when he saw me. He said, "Careful, she might report you for buying too much turkey." People nearby looked at me like I was dangerous. The sound of carts rolling and scanners beeping felt louder than my own heartbeat. I tried to ignore it, but my hands shook. I decided to go to the house anyway. I wanted a calm talk, not a fight. When I reached the porch, I could smell roasted garlic and butter through the door. My father opened it, saw me, and blocked the entrance. "You're not welcome here until you learn loyalty," he said. Neighbors across the street were watching. My aunt whispered, "She really came." I said, "I just want to talk." He replied, "There is nothing to say." Then he closed the door in my face. I stood there while laughter came from inside. As I turned to leave, I heard my sister say, "We finally cut off the liability." The word hit harder than the cold air. I realized they did not just want distance, they wanted me erased. The next week, I noticed I had been removed from the family group chat. Holiday photos appeared online without me. My sister posted, "Finally drama-free." I called her and asked why she was doing this. She said, "You chose this when you turned against us." I had never turned against anyone. I only asked questions. Then, my parents refused to return the small loan I gave for new inventory. My father said, "Consider it rent for all the years we raised you." I was stunned. Later, I discovered they changed paperwork and removed my minor shares in the business. I asked why. He answered, "You are no longer part of this family." Soon, rumors spread that I was unstable and jealous. My uncle told people I could not keep a job. Some neighbors stopped greeting me. At first, I cried at night. I felt betrayed and small. But slowly, the hurt turned into focus. I saved every message. I collected emails, receipts, and public records. I stopped arguing. I stopped defending myself. I watched. I listened. I waited. What they didn't know was my job trained me to spot fraud. Months earlier, I had reviewed invoices for the family business when they asked for help. I noticed inflated supplier costs and payments to companies that did not exist. I checked public databases and saw shell vendors linked to their accounts. Quietly, I copied records and preserved digital trails. I had a plan they never saw coming. I was not looking for revenge. I wanted the truth protected and the law respected. Weeks before Thanksgiving, I had already submitted an anonymous report to financial authorities. I attached documents, timelines, and transaction patterns. After that, I stayed silent. I let them believe I was weak. I let them push me out. Each insult only confirmed I had done the right thing. Then Mr. Howard Bennett called me. He had been the family's lawyer years ago. His voice was calm. He said investigators had contacted him. He asked to meet. When we sat in a quiet office, he told me he had warned my parents about compliance risks long ago. He looked at me and said, "You were the only one who ever read the contracts carefully." He agreed to cooperate. Meanwhile, my family grew arrogant. My sister hosted a Friendsgiving and posted smiling photos. She wrote, "Cutting toxic energy feels amazing." My parents bragged their business was expanding. They thought they had won. I said nothing. I kept working, sleeping, and living my routine. Inside, I felt both nervous and steady. The waiting was the hardest part. 3 weeks later, they were eating dinner when the police knocked. Financial crime investigators stood at the door. My sister called me screaming, "What did you do?" I answered calmly, "I told the truth." The lead investigator explained there was evidence of fraud and tax evasion. Mr. Bennett was there as a cooperating witness. My father shouted, "She betrayed us!" I replied, "No, I protected what was legal." Officers mentioned the anonymous tip supported by documents. My sister went quiet. She realized I was not unstable, I was informed. Neighbors gathered as officers carried out computers and files. My parents' faces changed from anger to fear. Their reputation cracked in front of everyone. I did not celebrate. I felt steady and clear. I moved forward in my career with my integrity intact. My parents faced penalties and legal consequences. Some relatives apologized quietly. One night, my sister texted, "You could have warned us." I replied, "I did. You just didn't want to hear me." I learned that honesty can feel lonely, but it builds strength. Sometimes being excluded is protection in disguise. Have you ever been pushed out because you spoke the truth? Were you labeled dramatic or disloyal for setting boundaries? Share your story in the comments, especially if your honesty cost you relationships. Subscribe to stand with people who refuse to stay silent. Click hype to help this story reach others who need it. Did this story hit home? Let me know by liking the video and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Click hype to help the story find others who felt pushed out for telling the truth. Your support makes a huge difference. I'm reading every comment. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments. If this story touched your heart, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories about resilience, dignity, and quiet justice. Because some lessons don't come with applause. They come with peace.